This is Annie here with AIM Student Radio. I'm standing here with Mantle, going to interview them. Say hi, everybody.
Hey.
I'm happy you guys all introduce yourselves, what you guys do in the band, and all that, what your name is, and all that good stuff.
All right, so I'm Draven Newman. I play guitar.
I'm William Perkins. I do bass and the god-awful vocals.
I'm Nathan Vargas. I play drums slash percussion, I guess.
And I'm Ben Hovet, and I play guitar along with Draven. Try to sound as good as I can.
Perfect. That's super cool. So what is the meaning to your band name? Everyone's got kind of whatever their band name means. Why did you come up with it?
We'll leave that to him.
That's a question for me, I guess. So how I came up with the name is that, after we all met up in one room fully for the first time, we go home, we get on our group chat and stuff like that, and then Will says, hey, what should we name our band? And I sent him an entire list of band names I came up with for, the past, year. And then, actually, within shortly, I gave him that list. I was scrolling through Facebook, and my dad's really, really good friend, he wrote a fantasy novel based off of The Hobbit and Game of Thrones, and it's called Mantle, Return of Shaw.
Oh, that's cool.
And so I was like, oh, wow, that's a really cool name. That'd probably be a really cool name for, a thrash metal type band or, a punk band. It'd be really cool. So, yeah,
cool.
I was like, yeah, here in Mantle, he liked it, so...
That's super cool. It's really, I like hearing people's band names because some people just have really generic names. It's that's not really interesting. So it's cool to hear people actually have a really cool, inspired name. What bands influenced your style?
When I first started out, I was influenced by a lot of hair metal, which is kind of weird, but I've recently become influenced by a lot more punk bands and thrash bands. Think of The Exploited for punk or, good stuff like that.
I started out as a kid listening to a lot of classic rock, my dad's old Kiss records. I listened to a bunch of AC/DC and Led Zeppelin. And then when I started getting older, my taste developed more, and I wanted to listen to more intricate, diverse genres of classic rock. And I started listening to punk rock, and I started listening to some of the old blues stuff. And I remember Draven messaging me one day saying he wanted to start a punk band, and I was so down for this idea. I was listening to so much British punk rock at the time. I was listening to The Clash, the Sex Pistols. I was listening to a bunch of proto-punk stuff, and I just dug it so much. I was so down for the idea. But I gotta say, as far as influences go, my biggest punk influence was the British punk scene. A lot of them are more LA punk, the West Side punk, and I was on the other side of the world. That's my genre of punk. And then we got this guy over here.
Oh, mine's really disturbing.
Little 8-ball.
What happened is when my dad, he was a punk back in the early 80s, but then he got influenced by death rock in the 90s. And so that's where it came from for me, but my mom, she used to listen to ska a lot. So I was kind of stuck between death rock and ska for the longest time, but then I got into punk not too long ago, probably a year or two ago. So I just kind of started playing drums instead of for a while, and then, I don't know, just my music, it just took a really big shift. It was really dark and disturbing, and then it just turned into really trashy sounding, I guess.
And then we got Curly.
So many influences for me on my part. Growing up, my dad, he's definitely a big thrash guy, and his favorite band of all time is Slayer. And so as a little kid, coming home from preschool daycare, we'd be just singing along to Megadeth, Pantera, Slayer. Those are the big main bands. And then we get over to punk. My dad and I listen to the Misfits and the Ramones. Those are probably the bigger punk bands that we listen to. But I would also like to get into guitar playing wise too, because it's not only the bands, it's also the guitar players that really influence me. I have to say I have a top 4. I have to say Dimebag Darrell, biggest one. Dave Mustaine from Megadeth, Randy Rhoads, and then Zakk Wylde. So yeah, those are my big influences.
What makes you guys want to write music? Like, I've tried my hand at music writing, and I'm not very good at it. What makes you, like, physically want to write music?
I generally write music. Just have a thought in my head, or I see something that I have a feeling about, whether it be in the news or whatever, and I'm like, hey, let's throw this down on paper. I never really have a plan. I just kind of put the pen to the paper and let it go.
I gotta say, when I first started writing like my own music and participating in music, it was because my dad got a condition when he was a kid. He was a teenager. He got dystonia and he couldn't play guitar anymore. His hands were shaking all the time. So when I got to the ripe age to play guitar, I took it out because he couldn't play guitar anymore. And so that's kind of like one of the personal reasons why I started playing music. But I like to write music. I like to participate in the musical community. I feel like it has a lot of value. And of all things, it's productive to the human mind. It's not like watching the news every day. It's like a different language. It communicates on a different level to individuals, and it's really cool.
I started writing music. Well, the drum beat, I guess you could say, like, it kind of gave off this tribal feeling, like the war drums, I guess. But then over time, it evolved into like crass. Like it was just mainly out to go for an agenda, to say something, to get my anger out against the world, what I find is wrong and what's not, humane in any way with what anyone does with animals, with testing or war or anything like that. That's mainly why I read music anymore.
For me, what came down to like actually making music, my dad was also a guitar player for a while, except he was more of like a blues and classical guitar player, and also like flamenco. He was also doing all that type of stuff. And my dad actually originally is, and actually still is a special effects artist for like haunted houses, and he's been doing that since he was a kid, and he's always been inspired by like horror movies and all that. But that's for another time. But I don't know. Just as a kid, I grew up on the art thing too. I picked up on it by myself, and my dad really didn't force me into anything at all. Neither of my folks did. I just felt like I had more of a connection to music more than I did drawing or any of that. So like, I'd always listen to like Megadeth or Pantera and Slayer, and just listen to like just the guitar playing, and just always felt so inspired. And then I just picked up some of my dad's old acoustics one day and just started playing stuff. And then when it comes to like writing music, I get inspired by listening to bands like Slayer. I just like it, just a big feeling comes into it. And then like what Draven said, just like, pen turns to paper and just everything just gets written out. And so
What have you found to be the hardest part of music writing? Because I know a lot of people really struggle with it. I took a lyrics class, how to write lyrics, and I still find it extremely hard. But what do you find the hardest part of writing a song in general?
There's a lot of things that are tough about writing music. First, like, I gotta say, for me, when we write music, one thing is we have to include everybody's tastes into the music that we're making, because we've got Nate. He does a lot of like death rock stuff, and I like to include that into the sound. And if you ever listen to the death rock, it's a lot of ride cymbal, floor tom. Yeah,
it's really dark.
It's dark. It's kind of bizarre, and I like to include all these different sounds. And Ben brings a lot of like thrash metal to the table, and Draven brings a lot of punk rock, and I bring a lot of punk rock. And if we properly like combine all these different aspects, I mean, it's difficult, but when you get it done at the end of the day, you create something completely original, not just another generic thrash song or another generic 1970s Brit punk song, And I like to bring everybody's taste. We're very democratic in this band. We all like to have our own say, and we all like to be inclusive.
That's definitely one thing when joining Mantle, or just like all of us in a room together, is that we definitely were like, okay, we don't want to be that like typical metal and punk band. We want to actually create something completely new and original.
And that's what's difficult.
Yeah, that's the difficult part. Yeah, that's probably the most difficult, is bringing all our sounds together and influences and trying to make it together as one like new sound. Because like as my dad puts it, like everything has already almost been created, pretty much everything. And because like almost everything was created like back in the 70s and the 80s and the 60s. But I told my dad, well, you know what? Not everything is fully created. You can still make something new, and then that's what we got.
Yeah, you guys had touched on it earlier. What makes you unique? What do you want to make you unique? So other people listen to you and are like, "This band's awesome." It's like they're so different in this way. What makes you guys unique, or what do you guys want to be known for?
Well, there are 1,000 bands out there that, you know, riff on one string or just only play at one speed the entire time. They don't have any variation. They pick one speed and they're just like, all right, we're gonna play this for every single song, every single album, all the time, and it gets boring, I guess. We try to incorporate different times, different tempos, different styles, making everything just so it's not boring.
I gotta say, one thing that I've noticed is that our band does a really good job of providing for the punk audience and the thrash audience, and there's a big deficit of punk listeners in Denver. It's kind of a cultural wasteland here, but I mean, for the most part, I've met more kids that listen to thrash metal than I have like kids that listen to punk rock, and I get this feeling that the thrash community and a lot of the heavy metal community have lost touch with their punk roots, like where the music originally got its edge from. And if you want to really bring punk rock back to Denver, if you want to rekindle that kind of that edge that the music used to have, is you've got to get through them. You've got to provide something that they can listen to. So I want people like the thrash guys to listen to Mantle and think, oh, that really kind of sounds like XYZ, and this also sounds like XYZ, and it'll get them to listen to more punk rock. That's kind of like one of the ideas, is to reunite those two communities, because for the most part, and I don't know, it's like, I lost a lot of touch.
In the 90s it did.
And there's a lot of elitism problems in the metal industry too that I hear, and I know probably quite a few of us are guilty of that. But it kind of rekindles that connection that the two used to share a long time ago.
Yeah, you definitely don't see as many punk bands anymore. Like they almost seem to be almost out of the scene completely. Because I don't know. I've been to a lot of concerts. The only punk band I've probably ever seen was Misfits. That's the only time I've ever seen a punk band ever. Because there's just not very many punk bands anymore, and it's a shame.
Yeah, well, no, it's popular, but I mean, it's on the ground completely, but it's not, not as popular as it was back in the 80s and 90s. Everyone thinks punk is just.
You got to make it.
They think it's the same thing as emo or anything like this, and it's not like how it was back 20 or 30 years ago anymore. It's like almost dead.
Yeah, you want to. Well, I think if anything, we're trying to make it okay to listen to punk rock again. Right. To make it okay to listen to that type of music.
And actually, when I got together with these guys, I was definitely for sure set on being in a metal band. And which, I mean, yeah, we are, and in a way, but we're also a mixture of punk, and all different sorts of variations of punk, and also metal. And you can definitely hear that in our music, especially later on if people do hear our original stuff. It's weird, and it's actually really cool, because at first we'll sound all thrashy, we'll sound all chunky and heavy, then we'll move to in the middle of the song, it'll be all Black Sabbath psychedelic, and then it's actually pretty cool. I love that. And then we'll get to the end, and then it'll sound punk. So we basically want the thrashers and then also the punk people to also know it's okay to listen to both genres, not just to stick to one specific genres, but also be friends with each other. Because I hate that there's not that much punk anymore, because I love like hardcore punk type stuff, and it's kind of sad.
I'm a huge punk fan. I love punk, and it's really hard to find anyone that plays good punk anymore, or anyone that plays it in general. It's just kind of a shame.
That's a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just a shame that you can't find nearly as many bands that play punk anymore. So tell me about the Draven song. I heard it. I'm in love with it. I like it a lot. So tell me about the song. I think it's great.
That's interesting.
It's very classic punk, and I love it.
Originally, a long time ago, I first met Draven as a freshman, and one thing that I was really geared towards when I was that annoying freshman was just like being the school's coolest guitar player ever. And I started this guitar club, and I just thought I was the top dog. And Draven came in to the one of the jam sessions, and he just owned it. And I was like, God, this kid's like wicked good. And I started picking his brain for all these like weird power chords that he was doing, and all of these weird scales that he was doing. And I started picking up my guitar and trying to recapture these sounds that he'd be getting out of his instrument. And I ended up formulating this it's like a 3-piece like rock symphony. It originally wasn't supposed to have lyrics. Like, I did record it a long time ago myself, just with digital equipment, and it sounded really bizarre. But later, like 2 years down the line, me and Draven started a punk band, and like this song was a joke for the longest time. Like it was everyone got a huge kick out of it. It was great. And when I got the chance to apply this to a band situation, actually give like instrumentals to everyone and be able to arrange it for a whole band, it sounded amazing. It was great. Not to toot my own horn, but we all fell in love with it, and we didn't really want to like lose like the original like fire from that song. So we did end up writing lyrics for the song, and it felt a little weird to play bass and sing to the song that I originally like played guitar to, but it came out in the end, and we all kind of liked it. We added like cool bass drum breaks in it, to add the death rock element to it, and we had shredding thrash solos in the song that were just wicked cool. God, the video! Oh my God,
I love the video. The video itself is good too.
Actually, one little nitpick I want to say about the soloing. God, I wish I could have done so much better on that solo. Like, I listened to it, I'm like, that's not one of my best. I could have done so much better. But I don't know. I've talked to some of my friends that have listened to the video, and they're just like, "Oh no, man! It fits to the song. It fits the rhythm. It fits everything." I'm just like, "Well, okay. I mean, you gotta go by what the audience says, Well,
that's the great thing about if you made a mistake, nobody else notices. Everyone else thinks it's fabulous, and you're the only one that's like, God, I wish I made that different.
Exactly.
I really enjoy the way it flows. I like the way the song flows. I like the different influences that are in the song. I think it's written really well. So you guys had touched on the video. I think the video is kind of interesting. Do you want to explain why you filmed the video the way you did?
Okay, I got one thing that I particularly was kind of sick of was I was sick of seeing like the DIY music videos, and everyone was always trying to give it like so much like a big story to it, and it was like great and artistic and all, but it was always like that little bit of edge of cringy. They were always trying to be the next like Avenged Sevenfold. Everyone was trying to do that, and I was screw it. Let's just videotape someone burning a corn dog. Like I didn't yeah. If you watch the video, we made a crap drum kit with the TV as the bass drum, and then paint cans and toms and stuff. It was so dumb.
And
but
tennis racket.
It took me hours to sync up everything, the drum kit perfectly to the paint cans and stuff. It was ridiculous. It took so much time. But in the end, I really actually like enjoyed it. Like enjoyed making the video. It was just complete nonsense. We like the pink vomit and like everything. It made no sense. But we all really liked how it didn't really have to make sense. Like it doesn't, like punk rock doesn't really. It's not supposed to be like political. It's not supposed to be like XYZ. There's no rules to it. So
just dirty stuff.
Like just to have fun with it. Just why did like. Yeah.
The pink vomit.
Let's not forget that we almost burned the house down.
Oh,
It's not a classic punk video if you don't burn something down.
Flaming newspapers going
what's this? What is all of this? TV stole everything.
I mean, as ridiculous as the video was, God, it was so fun. It was like probably like one of the best times of my life of filming, especially the part where William was throwing up pink milk.
Oh yeah, we were doing that together.
Yeah, that was so. Me and him both were doing that, and like you see me in the video holding the flying V, like pretending to shred and like
His hair is bouncing.
yeah, while he's throwing up, and I was just looking at them like, God, that's probably like one of my favorite parts of the video. It was so fun. And it was funny too, because like one of his friends, Matthias, was upstairs, like just staying up there, like not knowing what was going on. And like we finally go upstairs, and he's like, "So, what'd you guys do?" And he's like, "Yeah, we threw up."
Don't worry about it.
It was horrible. It was one of the most uncomfortable things I've ever done, but I did it for the sake of the video.
And you actually threw up too.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
Like the first couple shots were fake, but then like later on, like you see him putting his fingers into his mouth, and
dude, it got bad. It got out of hand really quick.
and then like there was just like pink milk all over the patio, and then like I was thinking to myself, my God, William's mom is gonna kill us.
You know, like the concrete was actually stained pink for a little while.
When she drove up and she saw us burning the corn dog, I thought she was gonna freak out.
You remember I was trying to figure out how to work the blowtorch?
Oh yeah,
That was bad.
Yeah, that was really bad. Don't take influence from that.
I got
Whole thing's got
a little light.
don't mess with fire, kids.
That was great.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the video, like, because I thought it was cool. Because most music videos, they're trying to tell this elaborate story, or they're just playing the entire time. It's just either boring or it's just like way too intricate for music videos. So I liked it that you guys had fun with it, and you kind of did whatever you wanted to do with it. I think that was really cool to have your own creativity in your video.
Oh yeah, and I've told people millions of times, like most of the time, friends, like just mostly friends I've showed the video, they've like said, "Oh, why is it not like as serious like Metallica or like Megadeth or like any of those bands?" And I've told them, like, here's the thing. I've told them, like, yes, we're definitely a very serious like thrash punk band, but we want to show people like even though we're serious, we love to have fun. We love to have fun all the time. We don't want to be fully serious, even though we are serious with the band itself.
I just don't want to be one of those bands that wants to be the next Metallica, wants to be the next Slipknot. Like that's so common. It's like it's driving me nuts.
Or you're generic like Mice and Men kind of band too. It's just
like it's
screamers.
That type of music, like it's completely subjective. If you like it, that's totally fine. But don't like try to be them. They obviously got to where they are for like a very specific reason.
Yeah, it's just
they did what they wanted. People like really enjoyed it. People really got into it, and then they got really famous for it. So, like, why wouldn't you try to do exactly that? Just be yourself. Like, and it's one thing to say that, and it's completely another thing to actually do it. Like, I can't stress how many kids will go around the school and be like, be yourself, but like they don't actually like know what they're talking about. Like, like it's they just say it because it's socially like accepted. Yeah, it's a social thing to say it. Yeah,
it's just another thing too that it's just following what everyone else does. It's kind of a trend in a way too.
It's like another social trend.
I can't tell you too, like how much I actually do act myself now because I joined a band with these guys. Like I'm so confident with myself and so into acting myself at school and stuff like that.
How did you guys meet? Everyone has kind of either an interesting or a super boring story of how they meet. How did you guys meet?
So I knew Will from my freshman year of high school because he went to the same school as me. Nate, I think he had sent me a friend request on Facebook or something like that.
A year before.
Yeah, and I had contacted him like a year or so prior to when we actually started this band about starting a thrash band, and then just never got around to it. So I knew that he played drums. So when I was like, all right, we're starting a punk band with, Will and I, hit Nate up, and he's like, well, I got this guy Ben with me. And so we all kind of converged. And so the first day I met Nate in person, him and I got in a fight. So
That's what a good friendship starts with a fist fight.
I do remember that style.
There you go.
I do remember that.
Kind of weird. I just saw him have a Megadeth shirt on. And I used to, I love Megadeth. It's probably one of the only thrash bands I actually like. But I just saw him like, hey dude, cool Megadeth shirt. And he was hanging out with these kids that I used to hang out with. And they're just not people I really trust. So then,
Oh yeah.
I forgot how it happened. One of us hit each other up, something. Oh no, it was you asking for a band. Wasn't
Yeah, I remember I sent you a friend request on Facebook, and I was starting a band with this other kid for a while, but like he was all into like Ed Sheeran and all that stuff. He wasn't okay.
Definitely not our style, but he was.
Okay, to me, I don't know, it's stupid because, I mean, like, he even told me from the get-go that, like, he only plays guitar for attention and for girls.
He told me that too.
And right then and there, I was like, okay, yeah, I'm not being in a band with this dude. I don't like him. I hate the fact that he's only playing music for attention and girls, not playing it for the music. Anyway, so, I mean, I sent him a friend request on Facebook, and I was like, hey, dude, you in a band? And he was just like, oh, no, I'm not. And I was like, well, what about an instrument? Do you play an instrument? He's like, yeah, I play bass, I play drums, I can even play guitar.
Really?
And then I was just like, oh, that's awesome. And so, like, for, like, the whole summer of, had to be, like, the summer after my freshman year going into sophomore year.
Yeah, because it was barely, like, a month that we actually hung out until we met these two.
Yeah, like, it was, like, every other week for, like, a good, like, month or 2 months. We're hanging out, like, trying to decide, okay, yeah, like, who should we find to be in a band with? And like, even as we were meeting up, you were even kind of having, like, little jam sessions, too. Like, I was showing him my guitar playing. He, for some reason, really liked it, and I was just like, oh, okay, cool. I mean, my guitar playing, I guess, is okay to be in a band, but then, like, I have to say, like, about, like, a couple weeks later, he messaged me, I think it was, like, around September or something like that of last year. And he was like, hey, these guys, William and Draven, they're looking for, like, a punk-type thrash band. And I told him about you. Do you want to join? And I was like, oh, hell yeah. I was like, of course I want to join. And so it like, when we all met up in a room together for the first time, to me, it was definitely something special because we all immediately treated each other like brothers from the minute we all stayed in a room together.
Well, you know what? Actually, this was kind of a thing. We showed up, like, 30 minutes late. Draven just left.
Oh, yeah.
He just got back.
The first after Draven party.
It was so good. We got, like, all three of us got along, like, in the first 30 minutes.
Yeah.
We were, like, telling each other stories, and we kind of, like, we just poured our hearts out each other because we were connected like real, like, long.
Yeah, dude,
friends.
it was like after like the
war.
first day, I almost got Curly to cry at my table. Like, we were talking about our music and stuff, and Curly was just sitting there like sniffling, and I was all like, "Yeah, music, bro."
Yeah, it was like we were long lost friends after
we all. It was all really instant connection. It was pretty cool.
And right then and there, the first after Draven party was born.
So an after Draven party, usually what happens is Draven usually leaves band practice around 4:00, and these other two guys stick around till like 6, 7. And we usually end up walking down to like Pizza Hut, digging through the dumpster and a bunch of dumb stuff. Like, we just like to hang out. Like, our last after Draven party, we actually went to go see the Misfits. Yeah, we all drove down to Denver.
I almost snuck them too. Yeah, that was a wild show.
We got thrown in a VIP because we were trying to see VIP.
Yeah, that was good.
But like, here's the dumb thing about VIP over there is that they didn't even have
A VIP section for the Misfits. It was for the Gypsy Punks, and we were so mad. And then, like, we were just like, hey, maybe there is like a way we can get like VIP for the Misfits. And so like we go, me and Will are both like, and they were trying to call each other because we actually lost each other. We're just like, I'm like, dude, where's Nate? And he's like, oh, he's outside the thing. And then we see like Nate like right next to the cage of where they're having.
I tried to get the VIP bracelet.
Yeah, he was like trying to rip it off.
I thought someone snitched on you.
Someone did.
Yeah, like the VIP lady like came up to Will first, and then she was like, "Hey, like, yeah, you got to go. We know what you're trying to do." And then she came up to me. She's like, "Yeah, you got to leave. You and your buddy are trying to sneak someone in. You can't be here."
Is it so wrong?
And then I told her to screw off, and then I left.
There wasn't anything good at that VIP section, I guess.
Yeah,
Those are great. I didn't get to see Misfits when they came the second time, but I saw them the first time they were here. at the summit. That was exciting.
I was there. Yeah, we were there too. Yeah, it was really
The 7 Days Lost. And,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. I mean, even though as good as that show was, I was really upset because I was just like, I want to see Doyle. I want to see them. I want to see like the monster Doyle.
yeah, but around January 6th, I saw Danzig in Boulder.
I wanted to see him too. I didn't get a chance.
That was a pretty good show too, but I had to leave early because I felt sick.
Mm,
But it was still a good show. I still got to see like 5 songs at least.
that's cool. All right, I have one last question. If, as a band, one, do you guys plan on doing something huge in the future, like trying to be a band forever? And where do you see yourself in the future? Like whatever, like 10 or 15 years in the future, where do you see this band at in the future?
I think that's like one area that we actually don't like to look at. We just kind of like we want to just live doing what we love right now, and we want to do it the best that we can. And I've been in tons of bands where we're always talking about, oh, we're gonna get this record label soon. We're gonna have to gig here. They're always thinking about the future, but they never spend any time in the present. And band practices with some of those bands just like are so unproductive.
Right.
They're always like constant. I
Trying to
would
figure out where they're supposed to be.
yeah, like honest, like if our band is like I don't know. Like I don't really like to think about the success in the future. I just want to live right now doing what I love, and that's like all I think we can all speak for that.
I don't want to think of the future. Well, considering my body state, I don't like to think of it.
Like
No, I really don't, because like all my cardiac problems and diabetes and all that, I really don't like to think of
yeah,
it.
I would much rather just live knowing I played a few really great shows and influenced some lives rather than like thinking about always being the best. Like I think that's what inhibits a lot of bands. That's probably why like Metallica had so many problems, is they got to this point of fame and then people stopped picking up their instruments, and they started having all this infighting and like
Right.
like and they lose their edge and they lose their original passion. That happens to thrash bands all the time. Is they have this like when they're young, they have this fire in them that gives their music their edge. That's just how punk and metal is formed. But when they get older and they start to slow down and they don't have to worry about money anymore, and they don't have then their music, they don't have as much to write about.
Right.
Like, how can you write
meaning?
Yeah, how can you write about like despair and like hatred and all that when you're driving a Lamborghini to Starbucks?
Right.
There's one thing though about us: every show's gonna be wild.
Yeah,
That's certain.
Yeah.
We will promise you a good show.
Oh yeah.
We'll get involved with you guys too.
I think
a lot of
a
times.
huge thing a lot of bands miss is that you have to put on a really good live show. I've seen bands that they're huge and they put on a horrible live show.
They just
Like
stand
if I don't feel like I'm engaged with the band when they're playing, it's like I don't want to see you again, and may or may not want to listen to you ever again because it's just boring. So it's like it's so huge to have huge participation with your audience, so that people are like, yeah, this band's awesome, this is a party.
Yeah, that's what separates like our shows from other shows, is like a lot of the musicians get up on stage and they're thinking people have come to see my band, to see my music, and they get really kind of they get really self-centered around themselves, and their show starts to lose its edge. You know what I mean? They think like any little movement that they're going to do is going to be this tremendous, just because they're becoming so self-centered. But if you get on the stage and your objective is to give them a really good show and change the world, then you will have an amazing show. Exactly. And when we play our shows, I'm gonna admit that we're a little bit we don't focus as much as like being as productive. Like we're more in the moment. Like we're trying to change the world, trying to give like an amazing show. We're trying to be as much of ourselves as possible.
Well, that's one thing we did do really good. We did get involved with the crowd.
Yeah, that's what we did.
Last time.
We jumped off the stage and started running around and screaming.
all the children were so excited for us too. It was really
And we
cool.
literally had a mosh pit too. Well, our own little mosh pit.
Like mosh pit.
Just giving the eruptions.
My piercing ripped out too.
And for like the whole future thing too, I wanted to kind of get involved in that. Like, I've told Will, like just personally by myself, I've told him like, yeah, I definitely have a good feeling for Mantle because we have such good communication and stuff like that. But Like, I get that. Like, I can speak for everyone here when, like, you have those kids at school that come up to you. They're just like, dude, you're going to be famous someday. You're going to be all that. And I just tell them, like, dude, shut up. like that's.
That sounds.
I mean, they're just trying to be nice and like.
Yeah, they are trying to be nice.
When someone tells me that, like, I honestly like. I don't know what to say. I cringe up and I don't want to think about it. Like,
yeah, same here.
My cousin said that about us. She said that to both Ben and me that we're going to be famous. And like, will you remember me when you're famous?
Oh, yeah.
She said
your
that to me,
cousin.
and she told me that.
Yeah, and I just told her too. I'm like, don't worry about that. I told him, like, we're not in a band to be famous. We're not in a band to make money. We're in a band to play music.
That's usually like one of the first thoughts that comes out of a person's head when they join a band. When they like, just in today's day and age, because of these amazing stories of people like Metallica starting out with $5 and
now they're millionaires.
Yeah, and they become millionaires. So when these people join these like thrash bands and punk bands, they like one of their first thoughts that enters their head is like really poisonous. That I'm going to become famous, and then it affects their music and it affects their playing. They start to get self-centered, Like in my opinion, you can never stop improving on yourself. Bottom line, there's no limit to it how good you can get. So why would you stop?
Right. I think that's hugely important because a lot of people get into music for the wrong reason. Mm-hmm. Like they want to be rich and famous and cool and they want to be popular, but it's like you really should be in music to love music.
I don't think any of us
genuinely love music. You should be making music. It's like I try and find bands that actually just write music to write music, not because they want to be famous or cool or get girls. It's like just because they want to make music, and I think it's just such a cool thing.
Cool.
Yeah, none of us at this table are very popular. Everyone hates us.
I'm popular, but not in a good way.
Yeah. I think I'm the same way.
People
hate us.
Both Will and me are really wild. We used to do a lot. Well, we still do. But we used to do a lot of stupid stuff when we walked to King Supers.
Oh my god!
We would start like slam dancing on the sidewalk, and screaming at people.
I used to work at King Supers, and I absolutely dreaded the thought of bringing my band with me to King Supers.
We behaved, didn't we?
No, you didn't.
Okay.
Like, who are they? It's like, I don't know those people. Why are they just here? They just know my name.
No, there's just a bunch of random people, I swear.
And I've told people a million times too. Is like, especially with me, because like, that's like my biggest dream is just to be a musician. Actually, get up in the morning every single day doing what I love to do, just playing music, making music. And I've told my parents, I've told friends, teachers, like, you can tell me all you want. You want me to go to college, you want me to go to school and stuff like that. But I told them, like, I'm so passionate about this, so passionate that I don't care if I go homeless. Because I'm in it for the music. I don't.
That's just an inevitability of the music industry. If you decide to be a musician, you just have to accept that you're probably going to be homeless for a little while.
Yeah.
I don't care. We're in it for the music, and I'm definitely for sure in the music, or in it for the music, and I don't care if I'm homeless and on the streets just to get there, because that's all I truly, truly care about.
I think that's awesome. You guys have a Facebook page, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yes, we do.
So everyone should go like their Facebook page and then go listen to their song, the Draven song. It's fabulous. Check out the awesome video.
You will not be disappointed. Even the music, at least by the music video, you won't be disappointed.
Yeah, the music video is you just need to listen to the song just for the music video, at least. And then you'll love the song. You'll be like, this is awesome. It's like a double whammy. You get an awesome video and an awesome song.
They're live every time you hear the song.
Yeah.
And I promise you guys, too, if you ever come to see us live, we will be so engaging and make you guys just want to come back and see us more.
That's a certainty.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
That is definitely a certainty. We'll get involved.
Oh, yeah, we definitely will get involved with the crowd.
If you go to a Mantle show, don't be expecting your traditional punk thrash. So like it's I don't even know how to explain it. Like when we go on stage, half of our mind is on the music and the other half is just about giving a really, really good show.
Just wait for Will on one of our shows. He's going to do something.
No.
That's secret. That's secret.
Well,
So if you want to know about the secret, you have to go to their show.
It's really cool.
And actually, speaking of which, of a show on October 30th, right? October 30th? Yeah, so we have a gig at Hermans Hideaway. So if any of you guys want to come check us out at Hermans Hideaway on October 30th, by all means, drop by.
So it's gonna be weird.
It's gonna be wild.
It's gonna be wild.
It's gonna be bizarre. I've been exercising more often. I have more endurance.
No, you're gonna hold up for the whole time.
Like at the Thornton Fest gig, I ran out of breath. Like halfway through the set, I was like, all right, I need to figure out this whole gear shift thing. Like,
I'm gonna
I
dress
don't know,
up as Ace Frehley for this one. Yeah.
Nah.
Yeah.
Alright, so you got a handful of things to do. Like them on Facebook, listen to the Draven song and watch their video, and then go to their show Hermans Hideaway on the 30th of October. So make sure you do that. This is Aim Student Radio, the way radio should be.